providentially arranged by the Heavenly Father to foster peer monotheism throughout the world, which which the Heavenly Father gave us laws, commandments, statutes, man, to live by. All right, He gave us laws, commandments, statutes, judgments, all right, to live by. All right, and this is what we was given, all right, by the hand of Moses. All right, the Lord brought us out of the Egyptians. He gave us His law, gave us His commandments, statutes, judgments. He gave us a land, all right, which that's part of our inheritance. Our inheritance being in the land, all right. The Lord gave all the nations their land, and then He gave us the best part of the land on the earth, which is the land of Israel and Palestine, or formerly known as the land of Canaan, all right. The land that flowed with milk and honey, all right, which right now is not. That land's not yielding forth this fruit because the people are not in their land. Because the people, which is us, all right, we have a special connection with that land, which I was reading, right? Special relationship or arrangement that we have with the land of Israel, right? You can't explain it. You can't explain it because, well, as far as you heathen, because you don't know. See? The Most High Father caused it to happen, you know? So the disbursement involved Israelites being dispersed, so-called Negroes, and then you had the northern tribes went into the Syrian captivity, all right? Which this all a part of secular history, man. All right? That's why they said, where do we go? To disperse among the Gentiles? You had Israelites that were living among the Gentiles. How? Because of slavery. All right? It says the first significant Jewish diaspora was the result of the Babylonian exile of 586 BCE. After the Babylonians conquered the kingdom of Judah, part of the Jewish population was deported into slavery. All right, so hey, what happens in slavery? Well, in slavery, when you put in slavery, you don't have no might. You don't have no power or might. Right? When you put in slavery, you're captives of another nation, man. All right. And that's what slavery is. You have servitude within your own people, which you agree to a terms of working for someone 7 years or so, whatever you trying to acquire for someone. All right, and there's a law. If you take a Hebrew slave, all right, and there are certain ways you would treat a Hebrew slave. I'm gonna get some real quick. Paint in my mind. I mentioned slavery, right? The main part. It said the main part of how Jews became dispersed, how they became dispersed was because of slavery, right? It went to slavery, right? Ezekiel 39 and 23, it says, and the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity. So that's what ultimately will happen. Our iniquities will become great, and the Lord's anger will be kindled. All right, he will have his anger will be kindled with fire, and he will move to jealousy because we as a nation, we would worship other idols, set up graven images. This is something our nation was doing, man. All right. So the Heavenly Father would get wroth with us, and then he would send our enemies against us, which are the heathen, man. Because the heathen, they hate us, man. They don't like us. They are our enemies. The heathens are our enemies. That's why the book of Psalms 83rd chapter is so important, because that right in itself tells you how the heathen came against us to make us cease from being a nation, man. Okay? Ezekiel 39:23, and the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went to captivity for their iniquity, because they trespassed against me. Therefore hid I my face from them, and gave them into the hand of their enemies. So fell they all by the sword. So, hey, there you go. Matter of fact, I'm going to continue reading. It's a lot of meat in that precept. Verse 24, according to their uncleanness and according to their transgressions. What is transgression? All right. Transgression is breaking the law. Sin. All right. Sin is what? Transgression of the law. Breaking the law. And we were given the law. Romans 9:4. And the giving of the law. It says who are Israelites? All right. It was what? It was the service of the Most High. It was the law, the covenants. All right. The glory. All right. It says according to their uncleanness and according to their transgressions have I done unto them, and hid my face from them. And the Lord puts in captivity. All right. And we would have to, we would have to go through that punishment, man. All right. Until we come to realization of what we've done. All right. It says, verse 25, therefore thus said the Lord power, now will I bring again the captivity of Jacob, and have mercy upon the whole house of Israel, and will be jealous for my holy name. Because why? The Lord punished us by putting us in slavery. All right, and the heathen were able to take advantage of us. All right, and then what? Heavenly Father is still ultimately keeping this promise that He made to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right, really going back to Abraham. The fathers of promises they known as. He kept that promise. All right, and He's going to ultimately redeem us. All right, according to the election that He made. And there's the election that comes out of our nation, whom the Lord will save and deliver from the coming destruction. All right. You're going to see Israelites being gathered from all over this earth, man, because we're scattered among all the earth. All right. It says, therefore, thus said the Lord of power, now will I bring again the captivity of Jacob, and have mercy upon the whole house of Israel, and will be jealous for my holy name. After that, they have borne their shame and all their trespasses, whereby they have trespassed against me, when they dwelt safely in their land, and none made them afraid. Because when we would do that which is right in the eyes or the sight of the Lord, He would bless us. And then when we do that which is evil in the eyes of the Lord, all right, He curses upon us. All right, bring evil upon us. All right, send our enemies against us. So, all right, that's the way we become dispersed. All right, let's get some more of this history. It says, although Cyrus the Great, the Persian conqueror of Babylonia, permitted the Jews to return to their homeland in 538 BCE, part of the Jews' community voluntarily remained behind. So you had it, at times, where some Jakes stayed, man. Some Israelites just stayed, and pretty much they made their families there, and they continue on to generations, in these different lands, man. And then you had a bulk of them may return, but then you got some that will stay. All right. But in this captivity, none shall remain. All right, none shall remain. The ones that remain are going to be missile food, man. All right, when the Most High rained missiles on this place. All right, Babylon the Great. This is the new Babylon. All right, this is Babylon the Great, also known as the virgin daughter of Babylon. All right, and this is the Babylon that Edom rules. All right, Psalms 137. All right, it says largest, most significant, and culturally most creative Jewish diaspora in early Jewish history flourished in Alexandria. Well, that's going back to Alexandria, Egypt, man. Where in the 1st century BCE, 40% of the population was Jews. Look at that. Well, hey, when you that brings me instantly to the thought of when Yahweh Shai parents, Joseph and Mary, an angel sent the Lord sent the angel to Mary and Joseph and told them to flee into Egypt. All right. Why would they flee into Egypt? You had a great population of Israelites there. It goes on to say, well, it said 40% of the population there was Jews. It says 40% of the population was Jews. Around the 1st century CE, an estimated 5 million Jews lived outside Palestine, about 4/5 of them within the Roman Empire, but they looked to Palestine as the center of their religious and cultural life. Since diaspora Jews thus far outnumbered the Jews in Palestine even before the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 CE, which is really 70 AD. All right. So there you have it, man. That's a clear indication, because the reason why I say it's a clear indication of the Jews being dispersed, or Israelites being dispersed into these different lands, and then going to the land of Ham. If the Jew, like, I'm gonna make this point. If the Jews were so-called white, all right, why would they flee into Egypt? Seeing the land of Ham, which means hot and burnt, right? Why would they flee into the land of Ham when Ham is the progenitor of the dark races, right? Not the Negroes. He says he's the father of dark races, which is darkest races or the darkest race on earth is the sons of Ham, right? It don't make sense for a so-called white person to flee into the land of Ham. When they flee into another part of the world where other so-called whites live at, which is Edomites, that's their true nationality, they're Edomites. All right? They would easily be recognized if they were to go into a land that was people was mainly super dark. See? I mean, they would be easily identifiable, man. All right? That's why Arthur Koestler, that's right, Arthur Koestler, the one that was assassinated for making the book called The 13th Tribe. He said, how did the Jews leave black and come back white? And he was a so-called Jew himself, man. All right. Now, whether he was an actual was he the actual real Jew, a real Israelite or not, is to be determined. But there are many of them that come out and speaks against the current occupation of the land of Palestine, the land of Israel, as you know today. They say no. You can check it out on YouTube. There are videos saying no, and they call themselves Jews, whatever, but they say you so-called blacks are the real Jews, man. So again, that's an easily knowable fact. You can't like I said, you cannot notice someone that's actually what's one I'll tell you? You cannot actually know someone that's Caucasian in an all dark-skinned society and not recognize them. They would be easily recognizable, man. All right. But the point is that Israel was scattered among these different nations, man. They was removed out of the Lord's sight, the land of Israel, taken into captivity and slavery, just like today, right? When you look at the history of our enslavement, you had it where they would take Israelites and take them to these different lands, all right? So no matter where Israelites went into, whether it was Asia, or whether it's Europe, no matter where it is, it's still in fact they're Israelites, right? And they're still a part of the seed or the lineage of the nation of Israel, right? Just because they may be there for many generations doesn't mean they become so-called Chinese, so-called Arab. No, they're still Israelites, man. Right? They still go back to the seed or the house of Israel, the blood of Jacob. And their pedigree and genealogy goes back to that man, right? Which is our forefathers, Jacob, and then, Isaac and Abraham. All right? You can't mix the seed up, right? The seed that the Heavenly Father is dealing with, right, is the seed of Israel, Yazara'ala, right? Because I did a sit down on the tares of the wheat, right? The tares of the wheat is involving the children of the kingdom, which are the children of Israel, so-called Negroes, Latino American people. We're the children of the kingdom, and then the tares are the seed of the wicked one, Esau, Edom, are the so-called white man. So you have the tares of the wheat, and the Lord is going to send back the angels, which are the reapers, to separate the tares of the wheat, because you have Esau's seed among our people. You have Jacob's seed among them. Even in slavery, the slave master, all right, he would have his way with the slave women, and then the slave master's wife, she would have her way with these big, strong Israelite men. Whether it was Judah, whether it was Gad, whether it was Ephraim, whether it was Issachar, it doesn't matter. They had a fetish, right? They got a real fetish for Israelite men, right? And they were well, that's that movie, the movie Drum. The movie Drum, when they had the ex-legendary boxer that was Ken Norton, I believe. Ken Norton was in that movie, and pretty much in that movie it showed you how slave one lady, I forget her name, in a while, but this one lady, Drum's mother in that movie was a Edomite woman. She was a slave master's or widow or a former wife of the slave master, right? And she had had a child with an Israelite man, which was Drum, right? And then to show you in other movies where what's that movie? It just came out long ago. That's another movie too. It shows you the movie will show you where he was he had his one Israelite woman. He was constantly raping her there. He was constantly raping her. It shows you in the movie. He was constantly raping her and having sex with her. All right, and then he was his wife get mad. And, she would they would abuse her and everything. But that was common in hardcore slavery, right? Hardcore part of slavery. So that's another way the seed of Israel, all right, it becomes scattered. Different wars that men of Israel have fought in, right? During wartime, women and children are spoils of war, right? And what does men do? You see a beautiful woman that's among the captives, you would have your way with them, right? I was talking to these older Israelites that were in the Vietnam War, and this was just the other day, and he was telling me a guy that was actually in that Vietnam War. Because I have relatives that was in that Vietnam War, and they was telling me, and everybody I talked to about that, they say there's a lot of so-called black children, Latino children among those Vietnamese, all right? Because that's what Jake was doing, laying up having sex. So Jake's seed is everywhere, right? Jake's seed is everywhere. Israelite men, men of Israel, they seed everywhere they go, all right? Reset my own feet. Jake our kids no matter where they go, man. There are many people out on this earth right now whose father is an Israelite and they may not know, right? Because of maybe war or slavery. This is Isaiah 11 and 10. And in that day there shall be and in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for the ensign of the people, to which shall the Gentiles seek, and his right borders. Says, and his rest shall be glorious. Yeah, because that's going to the glory, man. The glory is going to be to us Israelites when we get the kingdom of heaven. And that's when we will have rest. Because you'll see the whole nation come back through the elect in the 1/3. All right, then we have a whole complete nation again. All right, eventually, because that's how the 2/3 is going to be brought back. All right, through the loins of the elect in the 1/3, man. Right? It says, to which shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. And it shall come, verse 11, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt. Well, I mentioned Alexandria, Egypt, right? And may I say, the only reason it's named Alexandria, Egypt is because that's when the Greeks had conquered it, man. Right? And you had the generals which came after this guy Alexander, the Greek, right? The first ruler of the Greeks. During that time, he was a great conqueror, man. He went about conquering the different lands on that side of the world, which is known as that was the known world at that time. And this is the so-called unknown world during that time, right? It says from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros and from Cush and from Elam. Cush is the so-called Ethiopians. And from Elam, the so-called East Indians. And from Shinar. And from Hamath. And from the islands of the sea. And may I say too, I was speaking with a so-called East Indian. He know a little of his history, and it was we had a decent conversation where he know that the part of India he come from, he's a Punjabi, but he know that his history go back to the transatlantic slave trade. Right? It says verse 12, and he shall set an ensign for the nations and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel. And outcasts meaning what? They were casted out. Because the Lord cast them out through sending our enemies against us. Right? The tents of Judah, and even the northern tribes. Right? The Assyrians came up against the northern tribe and took us away. And we went to the land of Assyria. Some stayed. A big, large bulk of us went into Assyrian captivity. All right? And never returned. Some never returned. Well, most never returned. All right? Because most of us came on this side of the so-called known world. All right? All the northern tribes, Ephraim, all right, Gad, Reuben, Issachar, Naphtali, Simeon, Asher, Zebulun, right? All the northern tribes, we came from the Syrian captivity. And even they found some Simeonites in the land of Ham too. I remember learning that history too. So-called, Simeons are so-called Dominicans, so-called Dominicans of the Dominican Republic. It says, and he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. So That's what the Lord is going to do when He comes. All right, gather together the outcasts of Israel and disperse among Judah. Because we go into how Judah was treated specifically. All right, Judah was sold indiscriminately. All right, especially during the transatlantic slave trade, man. All right, shit, man. The way they did the tents of Judah, man. Because start with the tribe of Judah, which are the head tribe, right? So-called Negroes, the tribe of Judah was the lead tribe, right, of the nation of Israel. Right, they were set up to be heads over the tribe, the royal kings, Judah, right, royal kings of Israel. Particularly the tribe of Judah, King, the name of a couple, King David, King Solomon, which was David's son, King David's son. Then Josiah, right? Josiah, right? Even Josiah's dad, Joseph, which was the physical, biological father of Yahushua. He came through the royal bloodline of Judah. You can look that history up too, or look at his genealogy. Right? So let's sit on that. Let's go there. So James. Check this out very quick. Cross check this out. We'll go to the book of James 1:1. Something that they won't read. These so-called churches. Right? Letter of James. James 1:1. James, the servant of the Most High and of the Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad. Greetings. Yeah, because that's going into what? The dispersion of Israel, man. Diaspora. Right? As a whole nation, what nation on earth have been scattered or dispersed outside of Israel? Right? Or to the degree of our nation? The answer is no one. No one has been put through the ringer like the nation of Israel. All right? And that's the reason why the controversy of Zion, which Dvorak created, all right, that's why it's so controversial, because here it is. We went into this captivity, right? We went into slavery, and we totally lost everything, right? And for us to come out here and to proclaim our heritage and nationality for the nations, it causes controversy. It causes dialogues or even arguments, because the people don't read scripture. They don't know according to scripture. We know who we are according to scripture, because that's Ezekiel the 37th chapter, man. Right? Then the Lord put us in remembrance of ourselves in captivity. And, Jude verse 5, it says, I will therefore put you in remembrance, though you must do this, how that the Lord, having saved the people out of the land of Egypt, afterward destroyed them that believe not. Because whom the Lord saved from Egypt? All right, the children of Israel. Same Same thing the Lord gonna do when He save us from the new Egypt. Like I said, this is time of Egypt. All right, so the Lord's gonna cause us to be delivered, all right, from the new Egypt, right? And this time, we're gonna be delivered by way of the chariots, the so-called UFOs, right? Those are the chariots of the Lord. All right, it tells you that Wisdom of Solomon 5. That's what the strength of his salvation means. That you're going to be delivered by way of the chariots. Right? But making mention of Egypt, New Egypt, right? Let's get that. Because I want to get that as well. And I also want to get the root, the links up with Jude. I want to put this for remembrance too. Matter of fact, let me get that first. Or we'll put some remembrance of us being Hebrew Israelites. All right? Midst of our enemies. Midst of them that hate us, man. It's our evil, man. Luke 2 and 30 says, "For I knew that they would not hear me because of the stiff-necked people." You know, our people are stiff-necked. You gotta be honest, man. Our people are stiff-necked and rebellious against the Lord. Like, how about you know, Shah? It says, but in the land of their captivity, they shall remember themselves. All right, that links up with Jude. I read in Jude. All right, the Lord calls us to remember ourselves. All right, and that's causing anger within Esau because he don't want us to remember himself. I mean ourselves. All right, because that's a symbol, or it symbolizes him going down. Because the scriptures say that Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. We're the children of Jacob, man. Right? And the elites of Esau know it. The fact that we are here, claiming that we're the sons of Jacob, is a threat to Esau, man. Not a physical threat, spiritual threat, because the Lord is going to come back and put Esau down. Right? He's going to cause the sons of Jacob to stand up on our feet, which he's doing right now, man. Right? So